It's just a minute or two after 8 and we expect more people to be here, but let's start because we have a good number already right on time. My name is Meyer.
I'm Linda Sharp.
And we're actually together in person in the same room, even though that's a fairly rare thing. And we're very happy to be co-hosting this special tribute to our dear Linnea Capps. This will in part be translated English to Spanish simultaneous. We've had some glitches in the last 24 hours, which we'll explain in a minute. But I want to start by pausing to introduce from Colorado, Sienna Mann, who is a cutting-edge immigrant rights activist and also an extraordinary translator and interpreter. So Sienna, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
I think maybe I'll just start. We'll just start by saying a couple of words about ourselves and about tonight. And then we want this to be a pretty open endeavor in terms of getting people to share stories and remembrances. And I know some of you have slides and photos that you want to share as well. So we'll have space to do all of that.
Matt, do you want to start the interpretation now?
Yes, I think perhaps that would be good.
And I can give a brief explanation of how it'll work.
Thank you.
You have the Zoom interpretation capacity?
Oh, no, I think we should do it simultaneous, especially since you're here for a limited time. So just do it. We'll just do bilingual.
Just like you'll say it in English and then I'll say it. Okay.
Exacto.
Okay. So vamos a empezar esta noche con unas presentaciones. Yo sé que algunos de ustedes tienen también fotos y historias para compartir. Entonces, como ya llegaron tantas personas, ahorita empezamos.
So as I said, my name is Matt Meyer, and I come here in a few different capacities as Linnea's long-term neighbor, but more so as a friend of close to 40 years. Mainly, we shared some time as part of the board of the A.J. Muste Institute, but mainly shared time as members of the War Resisters League. And then in 1985, when Linnea moved to Salvador, for a major time to set up the clinic, she stepped down from the position of national chair of War Resisters League, and in some ways facilitated my becoming chair of WL at that time. So it's an interesting connection because we have a similar story decades later from Linda.
Should we let
So,
first? Okay.
yo conozco a Linnea desde 40 años. También vivimos muy cerquitas, pero sí nos conocimos en diferentes capacidades en el Instituto DGH y también con la Liga de Resistencia a la Guerra. Y cuando ella en 1985 se fue a El Salvador para establecer la clínica, ella renunció de su posición con la Liga de Resistencia a la Guerra y realmente eso me dio la oportunidad de tomar su puesto. Entonces estamos muy conectados tras los años con una historia parecida.
Again, welcome everybody. Thank you for being here and thank you for interpreting. Bienvenidos todos. Gracias por la gente que podemos quedarse aquí con nosotros de México, El Salvador, otros países. So again, my name is Linda Sharp and I first met Linnea in 2007 when I traveled to El Salvador for my first conference with Doctors for Global Health, and Linnea was the president of our organization at the time. And years later, I was the immediate president who followed in her footsteps. And so it's nice to be here with all of you just to honor the life that she shared with us, with so many of us, and just to remember her legacy and how she touched all of our lives.
Hola, mi nombre es Linda Sharp. Bienvenidos y muchas gracias a todos por estar aquí. yo conocí a Linnea en el 2007, cuando la primera vez que viajé a El Salvador con los doctores con el salud global. Y durante este tiempo ella fue presidenta de esa organización. Yo seguí en sus pasos. Es muy bonito ver a todos aquí para honor a ella y la vida que ella compartió con nosotros y para recordarla.
So Linda and I are going to start with some basic thoughts about how this evening will go. The first of which is that this is a special tribute to Linnea. It's not the one and only and final. We expect that there'll be others. We know of some others already being planned. So we want to start by saying that, and in saying that, by apologizing in advance, because we feel like no matter how much time we take together tonight, there's more sharing we're going to want to do and more remembering that we're going to want to have.
Entonces yo y Linda vamos a guiar la conversación esta tarde y es un homenaje especial, pero quiero mencionar que habrá más homenajes, eso no será la única. Entonces habrá muchos más espacios y después de este tiempo yo sé que vamos a querer seguir recordando y hablando sobre su vida.
We have the second apology about translation, because actually we're very lucky and honored to have Sienna, who's really an extraordinary translator as well as person. But she agreed to do this about 2 hours ago because the person who had planned to do it and to be with us is a colleague of ours, a comrade from Colombia, who's on the ground now in the west of the country. And things in the last days have just made it completely impossible for her to be with us tonight and for her to do the translation that she had expected. So we apologize for that. We deeply thank Sienna, and because Sienna cannot be with us for the entire time, we're going to ask that some of the people who would like to speak in Spanish and have their words translated in English go early in the program, perhaps go first in the program. We have other thoughts and ideas about how we'll do some makeshift translating after Sienna has to leave us in about a half hour. But we have her for this half hour now, and we want to maximize her use.
La segunda disculpa que quiero dar es que se tiene que ver con la interpretación. La persona que lo iba a hacer es una compañera de Colombia. Por lo que está pasando en los últimos días en Colombia, ella obviamente no puede estar. Entonces, yo estoy ayudando con la interpretación, pero no puedo estar todo el tiempo, solo las como primera 40 minutos. Entonces, por eso están pidiendo que las personas que quieren hablar en español, que compartan primero para que los demás puedan escuchar sus comentarios.
Note for folks who are interested in sharing a memory of Linnea or want to speak, if you can just type in the chat box or raise your hand, and then we'll go ahead and call on you. And again, we're going to try to give priority to the folks that speak Spanish in the beginning part of the program. If you do feel comfortable interpreting, you can also put that in the chat box, and if that's something that could work for you as well.
Entonces, para las personas que le gustarían compartir una historia, una memoria sobre Linnea, pedimos que por favor ponen su nombre en el chat y con prioridad a las personas que hablan español. Y también si usted es intérprete o también habla español, por favor también díganos para que nos pueda apoyar cuando Sienna ya tiene que ir.
So who will start us off?
¿Quién le gustaría empezar?
Si hay alguien que quiere hablar una historia de Linnea, especialmente la gente que está con nosotros de El Salvador, o de México, o Juan Manuel, o alguien, estamos aquí juntos, o cualquier persona que quiere.
Hola, buenas tardes.
Hola, Juan Manuel.
Hola, ¿me escuchan?
Sí.
Sí, aquí está lloviendo un poco y cuando llueve es un poco mal la señal, pero voy a hablar breve. Linnea, para la vida de muchos que la conocimos, fue muy importante. Yo la conocí en el año de 1998 en el Hospital San Carlos, por recomendación de un amigo que se llama Charles Clement. Vine a verla para ver si yo podía trabajar en el hospital, en el programa de salud comunitaria. Y jamás me pensé en mi vida que íbamos a guardar una amistad de hermandad, de fraternidad y solidaridad con Linnea.
Siena.
Por 20 años o por 18 años trabajamos juntos en las comunidades zapatistas, apoyando, ella caminando conmigo y con los indígenas promotores.
Juan Manuel, vamos
Y
a,
aprender de ellos.
Siena va a traducir ahora.
Okay.
It's raining here, so sometimes my signal isn't as good, and I'll just speak briefly. Linnea had such an impact on so many that knew her in a very important way. I met her in 1998 at the hospital San Carlos, and she was recommended to me by a friend. I wanted to meet with her to work in the community health program. I never thought that meeting her that day that it would grow into a friendship, a siblinghood, and such solidarity. I worked with her for 18 years in Zapatista communities, walking with her and with indigenous health organizers. Okay, puede continuar.
Bien. Sí. Con Linnea teníamos una historia en común, como todos los socios de DGH, que tenemos una historia en común, que empezó en El Salvador. Y Linnea, como yo he dicho, para mí, Linnea me dejó ver la otra cara de ese pueblo estadounidense que lucha en contra de su gobierno, que lucha por sus políticas intervencionistas. O sea, Linnea me dejó ver la otra cara del pueblo estadounidense que también luchan, ¿verdad? En contra de su propio gobierno. Esa es una faceta de su vida que nos mostró, ¿verdad? Y la otra parte de su vida que nos dejó huella así muy profunda en la práctica médica de la medicina liberadora fue ser humilde, sencilla y tener empatía con las personas que sufren la opresión y la represión, la marginación, la discriminación. Realmente, para mí, Linnea es como mi hermana que me faltó. Me ha dejado muchos recuerdos. Y también en el hospital San Carlos ha dejado gente. Ha caminado con muchos de los que están en esta lucha.
Se está cortando un poquito. ¿Cuál es la última cosa que dijo?
Que ha dejado huella en su andar, en su camino, en muchas personas, nosotros mismos y de los nos rodeamos con Linnea. Así que sentimos mucho su partida, pero la vamos a recordar. Su espíritu de lucha, espíritu incansable de demostrarnos, de decirnos que hay que seguir caminando en este mundo para liberarnos de las opresiones. Gracias. Tengo muchas anécdotas de ella. Tenemos los promotores también, he platicado con ellos, he platicado con gente del hospital, con personas del hospital que la conocieron. Y ellos se expresan de una manera que fue una persona humilde y sencilla, revolucionaria. Esas son mis palabras. Y gracias por permitirme participar, estar aquí en este evento. Para mí es un honor estar con ustedes compartiendo.
With Linnea, we shared a common history, as I said, with her experience in El Salvador, and she really showed me the other face of the people of the United States, those that fight against and resist their own governments, and those that fight for international solidarity, those that also put themselves on the line to resist their governments. So she showed us that part of her life. In addition to the medical practice and her leave the hole in that practice. She always worked with simplicity, with humility, and with empathy for those that were suffering the oppression and repression and discrimination. For me, Linnea, as a sister, I have lost. It has left me with many memories, and of course, many memories at the hospital. And of course, not just for me, but for many others, it has left a hole in our community. We will remember her tireless spirit and her ability to show me and tell me that we have to continue on our path. We have to keep walking on this path to free ourselves from oppression. I have spoken with many people, the promotoras, the organizers, and everyone expresses that she was a simple and a humble person, a revolutionary person. So thank you for being here. It's an honor to share this space with you all.
Gracias, Juan Manuel. Y Shirley compartió con nosotros que la otra persona que estaba caminando con ellos was Charlie Clements. So that was just, thank you, Shirley, for saying that. And for anyone just joining, if you're not speaking, if you can just make sure that you're on mute. And we're going to hopefully get the Spanish speakers to start us off. So si hay otra gente que habla español, tenemos interpretación por solo parte de este tiempo. So si ustedes quieren hablar, la próxima persona va a estar Marias porque él tiene un clase después.
And for those who don't know, you know, it's truly a global affair, and though Marius became a very key person to Linnea in the last period of her life, in a very local way in terms of these blocks here in Prospect Heights, Brooklyn. Marius also is a noted peace studies practitioner from the Congo, now working in DC to deal with international affairs. Marius, please introduce yourself better than we do, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Matt. So I am Marius. I am in Washington, D.C. now, and I work with NDI, but also I'm doing MBA at Tufts. I wanted just to speak briefly about Linnea. I heard all the good things that have been said about her, and I kind of wish that I would have known that at a part of hers, you know, tireless, perspicacious, and strong. I want to be honest here to say that I'm very sad. I mean, I know that we are celebrating her, but I'm very sad because I want to share personal experiences. I was an asylum seeker when I came to the United States, and when I met Linnea through Susan, I think that's why I started finding the sense of stability in my life. I don't know. I think that she gave me a purpose. I had the honor to see her during her, you know, her moment where she starts having issue with her health. At some time, I was kind of thinking that I was the one helping her, but when I was thinking deeply, I think that she was the one really helping me to become a better person. I will cherish the moment that we have spent together. I've spent together personally with her. You know, our dinners, I would say that our conversation, just the two of us talking about her, telling me about her experience in Salvador. I will miss her. She was such a wonderful person, honest, very humble, and a very caring person. I want just to share that with all of you and to tell you that if I had a sense of stability today in the United States, I think that Linnea has really, really played such a role in that. And I miss her today, but also I think that she has lived a wonderful life. And thank you for everyone for organizing this. And I hope that we can live by some of her values and become better person by her example. Thank you very much.
Hola, mi nombre es Maurice. Yo vivo en Washington, D.C. Y voy a comentar brevemente sobre Linnea. Yo he escuchado los otros comentarios y han sido muy bonitos y realmente estoy muy triste. Yo sé que estamos aquí para celebrar su vida y quiero compartir una historia personal. Yo vine a Estados Unidos pidiendo asilo y cuando nos conocimos fue un tiempo difícil en mi vida. Ella me ayudó mucho y yo tuve el honor de ver a ella durante momentos difíciles, pero ya recordándolo yo me doy cuenta de que me estaba ayudando a mí a hacerme una mejor persona. Pasamos mucho tiempo juntos cenando y hablando sobre su experiencia en Salvador y en otros tiempos de su vida. Realmente es una persona honesta, muy bonita y la voy a extrañar mucho, una persona muy cariñosa. Entonces, sí, lo voy a extrañar mucho, pero quiero decir que ella vivió una vida increíble. Muchas gracias a todos que organizaron el evento. Creo que tenemos que vivir por sus valores y por el ejemplo que ella nos dejó.
Thank you, Marius. I know Linnea loved your cooking, so I just wanted to say thank you for that. Ahora queremos invitar otra vez a nuestros amigos que hablan español, porque Siena está con nosotros solo por poco tiempo, so no sé si Irma o alguien de CDH quiere hablar un poco, si prefiere.
Sí, podemos hablar. Muchas gracias por la oportunidad. Gracias por este espacio para Linnea. Creo que es algo que ella merece, digo, porque ella, para mí, ella sigue viva en los corazones de cada uno de nosotros, porque la conocí como una persona muy accesible, muy sencilla, muy o sea, abierta para trabajar. Cuando yo la conocí en El Salvador, ella, la vi ahí sentada en el sillón y me acerqué a ella con un poco tímida, ¿verdad? Yo. Y cuando ella empezó a hablar conmigo con una gran sonrisa y creando una confianza muy, muy amable, y me inspiró mucha confianza y empezamos a platicar su trabajo de ella en El Salvador, en Chalatenango, de todo lo que ella estaba trabajando. Y en esos momentos DGH todavía no estaba nacida, apenas estaba formándose. Y Linnea se incorpora con nosotros en todo el proceso para formar DGH. Linnea fue una de las compañeras que participó y se involucró desde el principio que yo la conocí hasta sus últimos días. Bueno, no, todavía está ella presente, todavía la tenemos aquí, porque para mí todo lo que han dicho es lo mismo que yo siento de ella, lo que es lo mismo que yo viví con ella, compartí con ella. Estuve viajando en algunas misiones de DGH en otros países. Viajamos para ver proyectos y ahí la conocí un poco más de cerca, como humana, ¿verdad? Como un ser humano tan valioso, tan positivo, que el estar con ella daba ese espíritu, ¿no? De seguir trabajando así como con esa fuerza que ella lo hacía, con ese profesionalismo que ella demostraba siempre en todo momento, ¿no? Y a mí me enseñó muchísimo en estos viajes que hicimos juntas. Y también ella visitó los proyectos aquí en Tehuantepec, las comunidades donde estaba trabajando, y ella mostró mucha empatía con los niños principalmente, a pesar que ella era médica internista, con los médicos locales de aquí, aportando, ¿verdad?, para fortalecer los sistemas de salud de las comunidades, ¿no? Entonces yo aprendí muchísimo de ella, sigo aprendiendo porque ella vive, la siento viva, ¿verdad? Para mí ella, su espíritu está aquí en nosotros. Ella nos sigue alumbrando, ¿verdad?, el camino, porque ese ejemplo que yo vi en ella, pues es digno de seguirlo, ¿sí? Es digno de que lo fortalezcamos, ¿sí? Y decir, Linnea no ha muerto, Linnea sigue en nosotros, sigue ese espíritu, sigue ese trabajo, y nosotros tenemos que hacerlo realidad, ¿verdad? Tenemos que continuar con esa humildad, tenemos que continuar con esa solidaridad, esa sencillez que ella nos demostró. Eso tenemos nosotros que hacerlo, ¿sí? Es muy importante para mí hacer eso, porque de esa manera ella es que continúa con esa fuerza en el corazón, ¿sí? Entonces, pues gracias a todos, y pues ella vive en nuestros corazones, ella está dentro de nosotros, en nuestro espíritu de lucha, nuestro espíritu de trabajo, y ella es una compañera más que la tenemos aquí a nuestro lado, como un ángel, como una luz, como un espíritu, como algo, pero que nos mueve y nos sigue moviendo, ¿verdad? Y así como ella, pues mucha gente también. Tenemos que unirnos cada vez más, porque el trabajo es mucho, es muchísimo. Aquí, por ejemplo, nuestro trabajo es increíblemente difícil, ¿sí? Pero pues aquí estamos en pie de lucha. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for creating this space for Linnea, because she really deserves it. And I want to say that she is alive still in our hearts. When I met her, the first thing that struck me was that she was very accessible, very simple, and very willing to work hard. When I met her in El Salvador, I saw her sitting, and I was kind of shy at first, but she gave me a big smile and created a certain confidence that really inspired me also to open up. And her work in Chalatenango, in these moments, CDH was just forming, and she joined in the process from the beginning until the end, and we still feel her present today. Everything that's been said about her, I feel, and I shared with her. I had the opportunity to travel on projects to other countries, and in those spaces, I saw her really human side, how brave she was and how positive, and her spirit to keep moving and working, her power and the professionalism that she used always. I have learned so much from her. When she visited Tehuantepec, she came to into the community and worked with so much empathy, especially with the children, but also providing medical support and strengthening the systems that we use in the community health systems. So like I said, we continue learning, but most importantly, we feel her spirit alive and shining the way for us, illuminating the way. She's an example for us to follow. And that spirit continues in us. We have to make it a reality, this world a reality. We have to continue working with humility, with solidarity. And that is how she stays alive in our hearts. So thank you. She's with us. She is the spirit of resistance and of hard work. She's like an angel, a light, and a spirit that moves us and continues moving us along. And we have to be united. We know there's a lot of work ahead. Right now, we're facing a very challenging situation in our communities. So there's work to be done, but thank you again. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, Irma. Thank you, Sienna. Wanted to invite Michelle. I know it's really late for you in your time zone, so just wanted to see if you had anything to offer before you have to sign off, and then also maybe Ramiro, and then I think there are some photos that we'll try to share after that.
Hi, Michelle here.
And then maybe quickly to give Sienna time to interpret, to maybe share partway, and then we'll let her interpret, and then the rest of the way.
Okay, hi, Michelle here. I can only agree with everything that's been said, and I did not want to miss being here. It doesn't matter, time zones don't matter, because I met a beautiful woman, and she touched me as she's touched all of us. And thank you for letting me be here with you. Muchas gracias.
Hola, soy Michelle. Yo estoy de acuerdo con todo que dijeron las otras personas y no quería faltar este evento. Es muy importante. Ella fue una persona hermosa, una mujer hermosa y me impactó mucho. So, muchísimas gracias.
Patrick Lacefield, we're wondering if you may want to share your slides, but I also wanted to invite Ramiro or other Spanish speakers if they want the opportunity to have Sienna interpret. I mean, obviously no pressure, nobody has to talk, just an invitation to.
Okay, well,
Adelante.
Oh, there. Okay.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I do have some pictures to show and in addition to some things to say, but it's up to you, whatever your timing is.
Ramiro, do you want to go now?
No sé si Ramiro, si quiere hablar un poco sobre Linnea. No es necesario, solo una invitación porque tenemos Sienna aquí.
¿Me escuchan?
Sí.
Ok, buenas noches. Es un gusto que nos hayan invitado. Quiero decirles que Linnea somos todos. conociendo la trayectoria de su vida desde hace muchos años, trabajando para la gente, ¿verdad? De todos los diferentes países que ha podido ella conocer. Me da mucho entusiasmo, ¿verdad? De seguir ese legado, ¿verdad? De continuar la lucha que se ha iniciado porque no termina, ¿verdad? Continúa. Entonces, es bonito recordar una persona que ha dado su vida por muchos años al trabajo humanitario. Y sí es una lástima, ¿va? Que estas cosas sucedan, pero bueno, así es así es la vida. Y
I didn't know that Dinah was Patrick because I never would have recognized him.
Como gente de CDH, estamos muy satisfechos, contentos con el apoyo, ¿verdad? Que Linnea en sus tiempos de trabajo con DGH hizo por nuestras comunidades aquí en El Salvador, y pues sinceramente sentimos mucho esa pérdida, pero igual, ¿verdad? Debemos de continuar adelante con esa enseñanza que nos ha dejado para que la memoria no se pierda, ¿verdad? Se continúe siempre hasta que Dios pues nos dé también igual, nos tenga en este mundo. No sé si Lucía quisiera decir algunas palabras porque sí está conmigo también. Gracias.
Gracias por participar. Mi nombre es Lucía y recuerdo de Linnea, lo conocí en el 2007 en la asamblea en El Salvador. Pues ahí nos conocimos, y con las demás compañeras que estuvimos en la asamblea, que fuimos desde Morazán a San Salvador, y pues es una persona de que pues siempre estará en los proyectos, y siempre seguiremos adelante. Cuando hablamos con ella en ese entonces, pues ya muchos compañeros o compañeras han dicho de que pues se hablaba con ella con una tranquilidad. Ella trataba la manera de entender, porque es bien difícil hablar inglés y español, pues encontrarlos, pero ella era una persona que sí estaba muy interesada en los proyectos que se estaban desarrollando en CDH, y pues a nivel de El Salvador también, ¿verdad? Así es de que pues siempre estaremos nosotros y seguiremos adelante, siempre todos juntos, DGH pues con todos los equipos ahí de las personas que estamos siempre en la lucha, y ese es el legado que nos deja a nosotros de seguir adelante. Y muchas gracias.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you tonight. I want to say that Linnea is in all of us, knowing the trajectory of her work and the trajectory of her life, the way that she worked for the people of many countries. Truly, I feel an enthusiasm to continue her legacy and the struggle that she started, because as we all know, it is continuing. So it's beautiful to be here to remember this person who gave so much to humanitarian work. And it saddens us that these things happen. Of course, this is a cycle of life. I'm deeply impacted and satisfied with the support that Linnea gave to CDH and what she gave to our communities. And we feel this loss deeply, but we are continuing these teachings and everything that we learned from her as part of a way so that we do not lose her memory. And we will continue to do that until God decides it is our turn. And then Lucia shared, thank you so much. I remember Linnea, it was 2007 in El Salvador when we met. And she was always there with us in the community projects. And we continue this work that we did with her. When we met, as many said, you know, they immediately felt a kind of calm and confidence speaking with her. She really worked to understand and empathize and overcome communication barriers in English and Spanish. And she was always so interested in the work we were doing through CDH. So as many have said, our work will always continue forward. And in memory of her legacy, we are together in this struggle. Thank you so much again.
Matt, would you like me to share some pictures here?
Yes, Patrick, and apparently my volume was on and not muted when I said I never would have recognized you, and then you have a different name there, not Patrick. But, say who you are. Say who you are
Right.
for those who don't know.
Well, my name is Patrick Lacefield. Mi nombre es Patrick Lacefield. For 16 years, or about 5,000 days, I was blessed to have Linnea at the center of my universe. And so when this was being put together, I thought, well, maybe it'd be appropriate to put some photos, para ofrecer algunas fotos de Linnea de los años 70 hasta 90 más o menos, from about 1973 to about 1989. So here goes. And after the photos, I think maybe I'll just add a few words. Right. I first met Linnea in 1973. I was a freshman at the University of Missouri, and she was a graduate student. She enrolled in graduate studies there so that she could then get residency to apply to medical school, which she did shortly after that. This was at our wedding, which was in 1975.
Yo la conocí en el 1973 cuando estaba estudiando y ella estaba en su maestría antes de entrar a la escuela para estudiar la medicina. Y esta foto es de nuestra boda en el 1985.
As a doctor in New York City.
Cuando ella fue doctora en Nueva York.
In Mexico, where we studied Spanish.
Esta foto es en México, donde estudiamos español.
Central Park.
En el Parque Central, Nueva York.
I know you're thinking this looks very green. This is Cape Breton in Canada, in the Maritime Provinces.
Yo sé que están pensando, wow, está muy verde en esta foto. Está en Canadá.
This is Linnea with her mother.
Esta foto es de Linnea con su madre.
And these photos are chronological, so they're going from 73 to 89.
Y estas fotos están en orden cronológicos, entonces van del 1973 al 89.
I don't remember exactly where this is, but it's some Caribbean island.
No me acuerdo exactamente dónde fue, pero en alguna isla del Caribe.
Linnea always liked cats.
Ella siempre le gustó mucho los gatos.
This was the team in 1985. We went down to El Salvador to work with the Catholic Archdiocese. And this was the team of folks who worked with us in Chalatenango in the población of Aldeita. And the priest, Gabriel Rodriguez, is at center there.
Esto fue el equipo. En el 1985 nosotros fuimos a El Salvador para trabajar con el Archdiócesis Católico en Chalatenango, en la población Adelita, y Gabriel Rodríguez está en el centro.
This is Linnea teaching.
En esta foto ella está enseñando.
This was taken when we went to the country of Honduras to do a health survey.
Esta foto lo sacamos cuando fuimos a Honduras para hacer una encuesta de salud.
Again, this was part of our team in Aldeita.
Igual este fue parte de nuestro equipo en Adelita.
Linnea's interests included ice skating, and this is a picture from her ice skating competitions.
Sus intereses incluían patinetas, y esa foto es una de ella era competitiva, una de las competiciones, las campeones.
This is a photo of Linnea with her family.
Esa foto es con la familia de Linnea.
Again, these are health promoters in El Salvador.
Estos son promotoras de salud en El Salvador.
We were in El Salvador for about 2 years. Frankly, if Linnea had had her druthers, we probably would have stayed longer, but 2 years away from my country was enough for me, and she acquiesced. Of course, later on, she went back to El Salvador and to Mexico as well to continue the kind of work that she'd been doing.
Nosotros estuvimos en El Salvador por 2 años. Ella quería quedarse, pero yo ya me quería regresar a Estados Unidos después de 2 años. Pero obviamente después ella se regresó a El Salvador y también a México.
It's funny how was both were like I never oh that's what no. Yeah, no. Good enough. Yeah.
I'm sorry, would Jerry mind muting? I'm getting a lot of background sound.
Anyway, under the heading of a picture's worth 1,000 words. I hope that people found some of those photos to be interesting in terms of tracing where Linnea was and where she went during those particular years. I would just add that, you know, some people have talked about her character. And I think that what was striking to me from the first moment I met her is that she wanted to be a doctor to help people. You know, she was a do-gooder. That's not a bad word. Do-gooder is a good word, okay? She was a do-gooder. And she had a very quiet and calm resolve. In fact, you know, I was with her for 16 years, more or less, and I think I only saw her get angry twice. I think for most of us mere humans, that might be a single morning, not 16 years. And I think also that I never heard her say a mean word about somebody else. And, you know, in our days where we are drawing lines, you know, across people or against people or doing cancel culture or whatever it is that we're doing, the notion that people can disagree and, you know, that you don't have to be mean, you can approach it sort of the way Linnea did, which is that basically we all have, you know, that little piece of God in us. And I think that's the way she lived her life. I think also just the notion that she had, I don't want to say no ego, but next to no ego, which I think was very important in the work that she did with health promotion, because she wasn't approaching it as like someone on high. She was working with people, not talking down to people. And I think that was very important. And I think it had to do with the fact that she had, you know, next to no ego about being a doctor. You know, she had learned a profession and she wanted to share that. So I think that all of those things were important pieces. You know, there are a million stories to tell about the time that we spent in El Salvador and the time that we had in New York and elsewhere. But I think, you know, she's in a better place now. I think, you know, those of us who are Christians, you know, who hope to walk with God, will one day see her again, if we're lucky, because I know that's where she is.
So, nada más quiero comentar algunas cositas que, pues ella quería ser un doctor para ayudar a la gente. Y espero que fue interesante ver estas fotos para entender dónde estaba y a dónde fue en su vida. Y decir que ella quería ayudar a personas no es una cosa mala. Ella era como una bienhechora, como que quería ayudar y es una cosa buena. En los 16 años casi que estuvimos juntos, ella era muy tranquila siempre. Creo que se enojó 2 veces. Y para nosotros, para la mayoría de las personas, es común enojarse 2 veces en una sola mañana. Entonces realmente fue una persona increíble. Nunca dijo una palabra mala sobre nadie. Y en este momento, en nuestra cultura, donde tenemos una cultura que está cancelando a personas, muy polarizado, es increíble. Creo que no tenemos que ser, podemos ser simpáticos y podemos aprender de Linnea y cómo vivía. Y básicamente lo que ella pensaba, creía, es que cada uno de nosotros tiene una pieza de Dios dentro de nosotros, y así es como vivía. También quiero decir que no fue egoísta, y así trabajaba en su promoción de salud, porque no estaba trabajando sola, estaba trabajando juntos, y no tenía egoísmo sobre ser doctor. Quería compartir su profesión con los demás. Hay un millón de historias para contar de nuestro tiempo en Nueva York y también en El Salvador. Pero para terminar, quiero decir que ella está en un lugar mejor. Yo soy cristiano y para nosotros que estamos caminando con Dios, yo sé que la veríamos otra vez con suerte en el futuro.
Gracias, muchas gracias, Sienna Man. We've come to the time when Sienna needs to leave us, and I'll just say in English better than I can in any other language. We love you and appreciate you coming in at the last minute and helping us out. So we know you need to go now. We'll take a little shift in the program to say goodbye to Sienna and gracias, and we'll let you go.
Yeah, thank you, Sienna.
Gracias. Buenas noches. Fue un honor estar aquí con ustedes. Thank you. It was
Buenas
an honor to
noches.
be here with you.
Ciao, Tavero. So let's pick up again and see if if people can put in the chat who'd like to speak. I think that there are some other folks who may have some photos they want to share, and also certainly some other folks who want to share some stories. So we don't have anyone up next. Maybe we want to figure out a translation question first, and then people should please begin to share and say if you want to share.
And there are some things in the chat. So once we figure out if we have a pinch hitter for our translation, we can also translate some of the things in the chat into Spanish. And was wondering if Gilberto is still on the line, if he would be willing or able, and if not, I can do some interpretation.
He is, Linda.
Oh, thank you, Jyoti.
He'll interpret.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can translate Fidel Campos to everyone.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Jose Fidel Campos Sorto. I'm the husband of Susan Greenblatt. So I want to express my deepest sadness to the family and the friends of Linnea for her passing away. Thank you to all the organizations for the space dedicated to her memory, for the memory of Linnea. Although I didn't work with her, but with her visits that she made to our home, and after that, to confirm what other people have already said, she was a person who was tranquil, happy, amiable, and I appreciate her support, her solidarity for our home of us, El Salvador.
Okay, so we see lots of people from War Resisters League circles and lots of people from the Block Association and neighborhood circles, and obviously many from Doctors for Global Health. Who has some stories they want to share next?
I didn't really develop the intimacy with Linnea until close to the end, the last few years, when I had the privilege of really being with her more than I had when we knew each other as neighbors in Prospect Heights. And it's very moving to me to see the other parts of her life, her early life. What a gorgeous human Linnea has been through her whole life. Just one illuminated smile after another, and just a creature of great beauty. And I remember several times meeting Manuel when he was here in Brooklyn, and that was very meaningful to me. But I think this experience now among us is changing me a little, bringing that forgiveness, that and that acceptance that Linnea modeled that I need still to learn from her. That we make mistakes and we still love each other, and it was a great privilege, and I'll continue to learn from all the experiences that I shared with Linnea and with many of you, with her as well. So thank you for this.
We'll do translation in a second, but
Bueno, yo puedo decirlo.
yes, that's what I was going to ask. Susan.
Bueno, la última año sería mi tiempo más íntima con Linnea. Antes fuimos vecinas en el barrio, parte de asociación de vecinas, pero la última tiempo, cuando ella jubilarse comienza de fallar por la condición, yo tenía el honor de acompañarla en una manera más cotidiana, día por día. En su casa o en el mío, caminamos y fuimos en muchos conciertos en el parque, 3 veranos. Pero más de eso, yo estoy todavía aprendiendo de ella para recordarme la necesidad de tanto agradecido por los regalos de su vida. Y gracias por esta oportunidad con ustedes.
And Susan, if you just translate this one additional thing, for those who don't know, Susan, you didn't introduce yourself. Susan Metz is not only a very key person in the Bloc Association and a leader in the neighborhood and Brooklyn and left politics everywhere, but also was really a very, very key person for Linnea, not just in the last period of her life, but in some cases every single day in that last period. So, gracias, Susan.
A mi placer, realmente. Gracias a todos. Thank you for everybody. Beautiful to be here.
I don't know, Susan, did you want to say in Spanish a little bit about what Matt just said, or should we go ahead and move on to the next person? I know it's about you, so that might be a little awkward.
I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just very moved really now with hearing all the testimonials, and what a gorgeous woman.
Yeah.
What a beautiful being, you know, every single picture was so spectacular. Thank you so much, Patrick.
Yes. Yeah, that was beautiful. We're gonna have Paula speak next, and then Gilbert will do interpretation afterwards, and then we'll just translate some of the chat after Paula gets an opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Great. Most of you don't know me. I'm Paula Brentlinger. I live in Seattle. We worked for different organizations, but Linnea and I worked together on a multitude of different projects in El Salvador and in Mexico from the 80s until maybe 10 years ago or so. We trained midwives together. We worked at the Hospital San Carlos. It was a long collaboration. So I will be as brief as I can. One of the things I think it's really important to say about Linnea is that the tremendous amount of work she did on behalf of so many people didn't exhaust her and wear her out as it would have most of us. It seemed to make her really happy. And that was one of the things that most impressed me about her. And just to give a couple of examples, when we were doing the midwifery training in El Salvador, we shared the worn out courtyard of a ruined post-war house that was full of about 1 million bats that would spit fruit pits on us at night, every night. And she just laughed. She never complained at all about that. When we worked in Chiapas, we lived in a house called Casa San Vicente next door to the Hospital San Carlos with 1 million other volunteers, including the much missed Anton. And Linnea would practice her ice skating moves in the living room in the morning while the rest of us drank our coffee. So those two halves of her life were merged. And one of my favorite experiences with her was also in San Carlos. The hospital got its first ultrasound machine ever, desperately needed. And Linnea was selected to be the first person to use that ultrasound machine. We had a woman with horrific abdominal pain. Linnea put her hands on the ultrasound machine, scanned the right upper quadrant of the abdomen, decided that the woman had an amoebic abscess, poked a needle directly into the abscess, withdrew icky fluid I won't describe and ruin your dinner, but it was an amoebic abscess, and she saved this woman. And she got a total kick out of that. It was a quiet smile that she gave us, but boy, was it a smile. So that's one of my best memories of her. So thank you very much for putting this event together. It's wonderful. And I'll just stop there.
Okay, so I'm going to do my best here. So, mi nombre es Paula, y una de las cosas, y yo trabajé con Linnea en Seattle, y trabajamos en organizaciones, también en Hospital San Carlos, en colaboración y también para representar a cosas que estaban muy, y bueno, una de las cosas que era muy importante para Linnea es, o algo que quiero decir que es muy importante de Linnea, es el tremendo cantidad de trabajo que ella hizo por muchas personas. Y ese trabajo no la cansó, no la hizo que se deshaga. Es más, eso la hizo muy contenta. Y una de las cosas que me impresionó más de ella, les voy a decir unos ejemplos que estábamos entrenando en El Salvador, y había unas casas que estaban arruinadas y había millones de bolsas, que había frutas, y todas las noches estábamos allí trabajando, y ella nunca se quejaba del trabajo que estaba teniendo que hacer. Y también cuando estábamos viviendo en el hospital San Carlos, y voluntando y haciendo nuestro voluntario allí, ella en su tiempo estaba practicando su patinaje sobre hielo allí en las mañanas, cuando los demás estábamos tomando nuestro café. Y eso fue, pero también una de mis experiencias más favoritas con ella fue en el Hospital San Carlos, cuando recibimos nuestro primer máquina de ultrasonido, y una persona fue seleccionada para usar el ultrasonido, y esta señora tenía un absceso y mucho dolor en su abdomen, y Linnea puso el ultrasonido en su cuadril derecho alto, y tenía un absceso de amibas, y también entonces drenaron el absceso, y yo creo que eso le salvó la vida. Y Linnea agarró algo muy sorprendente de eso, y le gustaba eso, y ella fue algo que le gustó bastante. Okay.
Thanks, Gilbert. And then maybe for those that go next, maybe we'll have you take a break after a paragraph so Gilbert can catch up to you and then continue if you have more to say. So just so he can due diligence with interpretation.
We want to do some translating of the chat, but I also want to ask first, do other people have photos or things you want to do a screen share with? We know that Ruth Ben just put, from War Resistance League New York City, just put a file in the chat, which hopefully folks can pretty easily access. But in any case, I want to know now, we want to know now if people want to do a screen share and show us any photos you have ready. Ruth, is that something you'd want to do as well, or no? So I don't know. We would like for Ruth to unmute, but I could read what she just wrote.
I unmuted. I wasn't going to say anything, but I don't know if that picture posted, but Linnea and I went to the Women's March together in 2017, and we stayed with some of her friends just outside of DC. I don't know if they're on, but anyway, we had a nice time together and meeting with her friends too. Of course, that's among many other demonstrations over the years, and probably the most memorable was when we were arrested at the Republican National Convention in New York City in 2004. And I was planning to do civil disobedience, but Linnea was not. And we ended up in jail together. And I think she was about to go on a trip somewhere, like leaving within the next couple days. So it was quite the distressing time for her, but you know, you rarely did see Linnea upset. As Patrick said, she had a very even personality, but that was one of the few times when I saw her just, oh my goodness, when are we going to get out of jail? But I think it all worked out in the end and she made it on her trip. But anyway, we miss her a lot. So that's all. Thanks to everyone for their comments.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that was Ruth.
Yes, Ruth Ben, War Resistance League, New York City.
Okay, sí, mi nombre es Ruth y una de mis muchas memorias con Linnea fue cuando fuimos a muchas demostraciones, pero la demostración más grande que me impresiona y que recuerdo es cuando fuimos a Washington, D.C. Y fuimos a la convención de los republicanos en 2004. Y esta Linnea no pensaba que íbamos a ser arrestados, aunque yo sí pensaba, yo sabía que me iban a arrestar. Y ella pero ahí estábamos arrestados y estuvimos en la cárcel y ella tenía un viaje que está planeado el próximo día. Y de todos modos, ella se quedó muy calmada como siempre lo es. No se vio que tenía mucho estrés y pues resultó de que sí pudo ir a su viaje, pero eso es una de las memorias que tengo con ella.
Thanks, Gilbert. So we're going to have Marge and Gordy go next, and then we'll chat. We'll do the chat box after that. Thanks for your patience.
Thanks. Actually, this is a perfect time right after that picture that we just saw. I want to talk about when we first met Linnea, and we figured out it was January 1973. Nixon had just won by a landslide, and Linnea came to Chicago for an impeach Nixon demonstration at his inauguration. Okay, so this is the sort of very similar moment in time. Nixon was being re-inaugurated for a second term, and Linnea marched with us. She came from Missouri through our mutual friend, Ron Sable, who was in medical school with her. And she stayed with us. And I just remember marching from the West Side where we lived downtown, getting to know her, incredible, spirited crazy demand that we should impeach Nixon, and then obviously we succeeded. So that was good. You know, I think our main connection and admiration and respect and appreciation of Linnea was around the Socialist Caucus of the American Public Health Association. There was a small core of people. I see Ali Fine, Martha Livingston, maybe others I'm missing. But with them, Linnea, you know, just took a lot of, we call it bag holders, people just sort of stuck holding the bag, trying to keep Socialist Caucus going for really 40 years. Linnea was there many, many times over those decades, putting together panels on Central America, health movement, health organizing, was chair of the caucus, did the newsletter, I remember. I think she took it over from me. So she was just somebody who was tireless in her contributions. Maybe I'll stop with the translation and then we'll tell just a little more story about Africa and other things. So.
Bañate, calienta. No.
Maybe we should keep going.
Should I keep going?
Maybe I should just.
Let's see if Gilbert, just to give him time to catch up. So Gilbert, if you're okay translating that, and then I know Marge and Gordy, you had more to share.
A little bit.
Yes, a little bit more.
We're just going to mute one.
Tenía abierto el micrófono.
Okay, so, bueno, nosotros conocimos a Linnea en 1973 cuando fuimos a una demostración en contra del nuevo elegido Nixon y actualmente en su inauguración fuimos para que lo saquen de su oficina en su misma inauguración. Y eso es algo un poco loco, pero eso es algo que teníamos el esfuerzo, teníamos la energía para hacerlo. Y actualmente en el final sí logramos a echar a Nixon para afuera. Ella vino desde Missouri para esa demostración. Me acuerdo que fuimos desde el centro hasta Washington, D.C. Y también era con un grupo de un sindicato socialista. Y hicieron mucho trabajo. Y también en África hicieron trabajo.
We just wanted to say one other thing, that Linnea's did many things, as you've all said, but for her, two major parts of her life that we were so impressed with was her concern and love for public hospitals in New York. We spent our significant amount of time at Cook County, so we always felt
Chicago, yeah,
in sync with her about that. And the other was she's such a true internationalist, between Africa work as well as Latin American work. And I sometimes was able to be in Rwanda, and sometimes she'd come through Kigali on her way to Uganda. So it was just another time, in addition to APHA, to spend time with her, hearing a lot about what she liked to do. So thank you all for letting us talk and for being here.
Truly a doctor without borders.
También una de las cosas que quiero decir, una de muchas cosas que quiero decir es que para Linnea dos cosas eran muy importantes, y eso es el apoyo a los hospitales públicos en Nueva York y también en el hospital público del condado de Cook County, que está en Chicago. Y también ella era una verdadera internacionalista. En su trabajo en El Salvador, en África, en Uganda, estaba muy dedicada al trabajo de internacionalismo.
I know that one of you, Gloria, was with her in Uganda. I wonder if you're willing to say a few words.
No, I wasn't.
Sure. Hello, this is Gloria, and I know Linnea for a few years. I know her from Montefiore Hospital, where Linnea was program director, and some of her residents are actually here. So it's actually really nice to hear about Linnea's life from the 70s up until now. I only got to know her maybe for the past 10 years, and you know, such a small sliver of her life. Some of us here, Jerry, Morgan, Wanda, we were in Kisoro together, where we support a public hospital as well in Kisoro for all these years. And, you know, the work is very hard there in the sense that, you know, we see lots of patients and we work with our colleagues there day and night. And I think that Linnea, you know, and I know that our Ugandan colleagues felt that Linnea was one of those people who was always calm and quiet, like everybody is mentioning here, so hardworking, you know, always available for patients and for colleagues and for everybody there. She supported many people there. And, you know, it's hard to see an angry Linnea, or, you know, she just, everybody loved her so much. I mean, she was remembered. And the Ugandans, you know, if they could have been here, they would have. They send her love during this memorial. And, you know, for me too, personally, I was with her in our clinic. You know, I took care of a lot of her patients when she retired, and I know that her patients really loved her as well. And it's really amazing to hear all the stories that you all are sharing. And really, you know, from all her work all over the world, in the Bronx, she touched many lives here in New York and in Kisoro and Mexico, in Central America. And we really will miss her. And thanks so much for all the pictures and for sharing all these memories. And I can try to translate, but I kind of don't know if I can remember my own words. So.
Are you translating to Kiswahili or to Spanish?
Spanish. Mi nombre es Gloria y yo conozco a Linnea como en los últimos 10 años trabajamos juntas en el Hospital de Montefiore en el Bronx. Linnea fue la directora de la residencia de medicina social en Montefiore por varios años. Y también fue colega mía y en nuestro trabajo en Kisoro, en Uganda, donde ella trabajó muchos años al lado de nosotros con los residentes y los estudiantes, y también apoyamos las comunidades en Kisoro por medio de los trabajadores comunitarios. Entonces, me alegra mucho escuchar todas estas historias porque pues los últimos 10 años son solo una pequeña parte de la vida de Linnea, que pues estuvo llena de servicio a muchas personas, y eso fue lo que vimos nosotros y lo que compartimos con Linnea en los últimos 10 años que estuvimos juntas en Kisoro. La adoran en Uganda, la adoran. Ella fue siempre muy paciente, muy humilde, generosa, simple, con mucho amor, con mucha compasión, y igualmente los residentes, algunos de ellos están aquí presentes, y nos alegra mucho escuchar todas las historias que están compartiendo. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Gloria.
Yeah, thank you, Gloria.
You know, in an effort to make sure that all of, or as many of the corners as possible are touched upon, again, not to call anyone out, but do we think that Linda Francis, we believe that her life as an ice skater has not been properly spotlighted and highlighted. And maybe, Linda, you could say a few words at this time.
Matt, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Okay. Actually, there are two other people online who skated with Linnea longer than I did, but I met her in probably 1992, and she enjoyed the skating. I can say she was a very obedient skater. When our coach gave us a program, If I got scared in the middle of the program, I made up a few steps. Now, Linnea was not my level, but I would watch her feet. She never put a wrong step. She did exactly as she was told. She loved the skating. She did attend some of the championships that you would see on television. She would go to those and enjoy them tremendously. We were just chatting amongst ourselves on ourselves. Never a bad word about anyone, always a smile, an encouraging person. Matt, I had sent you the picture of her in a frame for her room at my last time I was lucky enough to get a medal at nationals, not even 3 years ago. Linnea was there with us, cheering us on. And that's the picture I wanted in her room because I wanted to remember that how much she loved her skating. And I also want to say, most people at our rink never had any idea of what she did away from that rink. And was it the earthquake in Haiti she went down there? I was looking for her. I had to get in touch with her. And when I went online, I discovered a photograph of Linnea standing in the midst of doctors giving instructions about what to do for the day. And I'm like, is that Linnea Capps? And I never said one word to anyone because that was a part of her life that she enjoyed. She was humble about it and she didn't want to share. I didn't even tell her I saw it. I just pretended, and then I began to see so many other wonderful things. So everyone at the rink was just thrilled to learn of her accomplishments. They were very much in line with the kind, humble, always encouraging person that we knew. So thank you so much for allowing me to speak about how much she meant to all of us. And we also had a coach who passed away, and unfortunately they're doing something for him tonight too. So that's why you don't even have more representation here, because we all loved her so much.
Okay, bueno, mi nombre es Francis y yo era su compañera de patinaje sobre hielo y yo he estado con ella desde 1992 y sobre el patinaje, ella le encantaba, realmente lo disfrutaba. Yo no era, no estábamos en el mismo nivel y unas veces yo andaba con mis pasos un poco diferentes de lo que nos dijo nuestro entrenador, pero Linnea siempre era muy obediente, siempre estaba con los pasos exactamente como le dijeron. Y también ella fue a muchas competencias y siempre en todo eso siempre estaba con su sonrisa, con su apoyo y también hace solamente 3 años, cuando yo estaba en una competencia, ella estaba allí, me estaba apoyando, me estaba echando porra. Y mucha gente en el patinaje ni sabía que ella era una doctora. Y una vez yo descubrí una foto con Linnea hablando entre muchos doctores y ella les estaba dando instrucciones de qué es lo que tenían que hacer. Pero ella nunca compartió esa parte de su vida. Y hasta yo no le dije que yo vi esa foto. Y bueno, eso es como ella. Siempre era como todos los que han dicho antes, que era una persona muy amable, muy humilde, muy sincera.
Okay.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Linda Francis, and thank you, Gilbert, for interpretation. It's 9:30 East Coast time, 6:30 Pacific time, and I believe 8:30 Central America, Mexico. Wanted to see if there are other folks who have anything to offer up. And then we wanted to end just with a few photos, some of them from Facebook, some of them that have been mentioned. But are there others who want to share before we maybe just end with a few more photos?
So I'd like to just say one word. My name is Ollie Fine, and Linnea, after her residency at Harlem Hospital, actually came to the Columbia system and created with me 5 satellite health centers in the largest Dominican community outside the Dominican Republic, Washington Heights. And then she continued to be very active and at least relate to our single payer movement here in New York, the advocacy for a improved Medicare for all. Thank you.
Hola, mi nombre es Ollie Hines. Y yo conocí a Linnea cuando estaba haciendo su residencia en Harlem y después ella fue a Colombia, donde ella creó a 5 clínicas en una comunidad dominicana. Es la comunidad más grande de gentes de la República Dominicana, y ella estableció estas 5 clínicas. También ella apoyó mucho un sistema donde solo hay un departamento de gobierno para pagar toda la salud del país. También se llamaba algo como Medicare para todos. Y Medicare es un sistema de salud en los Estados Unidos que les da aseguranza para gente que tiene más de 65 años. Y ella quería un sistema modelado sobre eso.
Wow, thank you for sharing that. I was just saying that I didn't even know, and Linnea's list of achievements is just long and longer. Next, we're going to have Lanny speak, and maybe Lanny, since I know you can interpret for yourself, will give Gilbert a break. Thanks, Gilbert.
Thank you. I am thinking about Linnea. I was trying to think of a definition. What is Linnea? And so I did, you know, what you're supposed to do these days. I said, well, let me go on Google and see what Linnea is, and I'm just going to read this because I'm pretty sure this person that wrote this must have known. It said, Linnea, an insanely beautiful person who has yet to come to terms with how beautiful she really is. She is smart, but not nerdy or bookish, and often is perpetually so. Anyway, you get the idea. And then it says everyone wants to be her friend. She's beautiful, smart, pretty, and very, very funny. If you know a Linnea, you are very lucky. Treat her nicely, and you and her will get along. She's mysterious. And these are from the Urban Dictionary. Who knew there was even an Urban Dictionary? But whoever wrote that must have known Linnea. I confess that I can't even remember the first time I met Linnea. I certainly didn't know many of the things that you've talked about here. I hadn't seen the photographs. None of them surprised me. How beautiful she is. How her sense of humor was like none other. I want to point out that for someone who was able to live her life without putting herself forward, without acting like she was better trained, more intelligent, better able to use a computer, better able to suck amoebas out of a woman, however you want to, but somebody who was like that, somebody so humble who didn't put herself forward. Linnea was put in a remarkable number of leadership positions. Look at how she was director of hospital program in residence in Harlem and at Montefiore. And yes, the Doctors for Global Health, she was the leader for many years. Her leadership style is very effective. It's a teaching style. It's something that I always want to emulate. While I was looking for the definition of Linnea, the reason was that I was trying to imagine the verb. Linnea, to Linnea something, to Linnea life, to Linnea, and it's revolutionary. You know, fascists should be really scared of Linnea, and anyone that has to do with Linnea. Racists should be scared. Anyone who is mean, horrible, hated, they should be scared of Linnea because of how she is. And they should be scared of us. Anyone who loves and is impacted by and it wants to Linnea life, to be a revolutionary in the truest sense of the word, like Linnea is. I want to confess, I took Linnea for granted the way that I take living the next day for granted, like the way I take life for granted. That's the way I took Linnea for granted. In some ways I still do, because I feel like she's always there. And she always was there anytime, whether it was, you know, telling me, you know, someday you better do something so that other people don't have to take care of you. You better leave El Salvador and do something. You know, that was sound advice. Her accountant, I'm surprised her accountants are not here. They were some of the first people that we let know because they loved her so much. Can you imagine being loved by your accountant? Wow. And so that's what I want to say. All of you have been telling me things that just affirm everything that I felt with Linnea and still feel. And you know, this night I hope will be part of all of us continuing to Linnea in our lives, and to do it in an organized fashion, because yes, she is an internationalist in the sense and in the word. She lived the life. She would just do things. She would stick out her neck if it needed to be stuck out. She would do the thing. She would, if you needed something done, she would not complain, but she might make you laugh about it. Voy a decir, quizás no exactamente lo que dije todo en español, pero voy a decir algo. Pues yo busqué una definición de Linnea y lo busqué, encontré en el internet una cosa muy interesante. Linnea es una persona que locamente hermosa, que todavía no entiende tan hermosa que de verdad es. Es inteligente, pero no con su cara metido en los libros, y siempre tiene gente muy increíble acerca de ella. Todo el mundo quiere ser su amiga, es hermosa, es inteligente y muy, muy chistosa. Si usted conoce una Linnea, tiene un gran sentido de bienestar y suerte. Eso es de una definición que usted puede buscar en el diccionario urbano. ¿Quién sabía que había esta entidad? Yo no recuerdo exactamente cuando conocí a Linnea, pero era un parte de mi vida que siempre contaba. Mira, ella era un líder increíble. Y a pesar de su humildad, era puesto en posiciones de liderazgo tiempo tras tiempo, de una residencia, otra residencia en Harlem y Montefiore, pues lo global. Así que es verbo. Linnea es verbo. Se puede usar, puede linear algo. Es un verbo revolucionario, es un verbo internacionalista, es un verbo que todos nosotros podemos usar para mejorar nuestra cotidiana. I'll finish with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Lanny. And I think that is a really great way to end it, and something you and I talked about, which is that how do we just continue to let Linnea live with us? And so to create a verb out of her name, I think that's the perfect way to try to emulate Linnea's spirit and life that is really in all of us. And look at all these people organized around her memories, and that's, I think, the best way that we can live out her legacy. So just wanted to just end with some pictures. Some of these are from her Facebook page. Some of these are from times that we've all had together. And I won't say much here, but I'll try to say it in English and Spanish. So esto es un foto de Linnea. Maybe help me to get to the next one. Y esto es Linnea con Juan Manuel y otro gente allá en Chiapas. So this is Linnea in Mexico with Juan Manuel. And I actually don't know who the other folks are in the picture, but you can see the EZLN signs behind them. En la próxima está Linnea allá en El Salvador en Asamblea de DGH. And that would be where I first met Linnea. She was president of DGH at the time, and so was sort of the MC or the host of the ceremony. And so I think some of us met her for the first time then. So ella estaba allá en El Salvador. And then just some other photos. Linnea y Juan Manuel. And that I think is in maybe at Juan Manuel's house, but Juan Manuel might know. Yeah, Gilbert's saying yes to that. This is a picture of the Board of Doctors for Global Health. I believe it's 2011 or 12. And that was a picture of us, I think in Los Angeles. And Linnea is here with all of us. There's me, Lanny, everybody. And then at one of the general assemblies, I believe in Washington, D.C., if I remember the seats. So Linnea ya en una asamblea de DGH con los padres de Lanny y Shirley, y Lanny está aquí, Ramiro está aquí, otro gente allá. This is Linnea at Hospital San Carlos with nurses and healthcare workers in just one of the open areas. This is Linnea on the Nile River. So Linnea está en el río de Nile, está en Africa. I like this picture because it's just of all of us, like, you know, crammed into some car on the way to or from some DGH event. And I think that is who we are as a family. So esto es nosotros en DGH en un carro que está moviendo, no recuerdo en qué ciudad estábamos, pero todos nosotros que están de DGH estaban juntos 2 veces al año, y es una foto de nuestra familia. So I just thought this was really a great one. Linnea, Juan Manuel, Denise, and sorry, the pic's a little bit blurry, but Brenda in Santa Marta in El Salvador. And then This next one is in Austin, Texas, us at another General Assembly. Susan, Jyoti, and Kathy, Linnea, of course, Shirley, Anna, Irma. So, Los Mujeres de DGH. Lanny and Linnea sitting on the couch at Jyoti and Gilbert's house. I believe that's their house. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize I put this one in there twice. She's still studying. Oh, a couple of redundant ones. This is the picture that somebody else had mentioned. This is Linnea in Haiti, assembling some doctors as they're getting to work in the earthquake. Another picture of Linnea and Juan Manuel. This was also mentioned, Linnea at the Women's March in Washington, D.C. Linnea winning the award at the APHA meeting for her life of service, well deserved. And another photo of us at, I think, our winter board meeting. Can't remember whose house, but there we all were. Might have been in Los Angeles at the time. And just want to wrap up and say thanks to everyone, and that there, as we mentioned in the beginning, there's not enough time to say all the things that we want to say, but that our lives are an embodiment and a continuation of all the things that Linnea shared with us and taught us. So we're just grateful for the life that she lived. So gracias a todos a compartir nuestra historia en este espacio, a la familia de ella, y gracias a Linnea, y estamos juntos en nuestra vida. Gracias a todos.
We also want to say that, as we also said at the beginning, this is not the end at all. And people have said in many ways that Linnea is with us every day in different ways as we seek to be better and more loving and more giving. But there are also some concrete things. I'm going to say one, and then Linda will say one, and then we'll close it out a little bit. But it was a matter of, well, I don't believe in coincidences anymore, but it was a matter of some good fortune, or some fortune in any case, that one of the organizations that I'm now part of, I was for many years part of Warrior Sisters League and the nonviolence movement, but I'm more in peace studies now. And just very shortly before Linnea passed, the group Peace and Justice Studies Association, that has an annual conference, said that their theme this year was going to be at their annual conference on health and healthcare. And did I have some ideas, as I'm often asked to come up with ideas for speakers? So it's very exciting to announce that at the 2021 conference of the Peace and Justice Studies Association, which is being done in conjunction with a medical and nursing school in Wisconsin, the keynote speaker is going to be Linda Sharp. And in addition to talking about Doctors for Global Health, she's going to be delivering, and I'm going to be introducing her as giving a special Linnea Capps memorial lecture. So that's going to be something that we'll have, and we'll tell you all about and share with you in the future.
And then Lanny, I know that you and Juan Manuel are planning a Zoom meeting soon, and that's really an ongoing conversation about revolutionary ideas. I don't know if you want to just share that, or if we could send out that invitation to others. That will be in Spanish, but I think that's another, you know, again, kind of a continuation of the legacy of Linnea's work too. So I don't know if you want to share that either in the chat, or we can also send it out on the with the recording of this.
So it's going to be the 16th of May. It's being completely organized by Juan Manuel. I will be there. I will speak. We'll have we'll have psychologists of the people who are part of Doctors for Global Health from Italy also speaking. That's yeah. In the afternoon, I think it's 2:30. We'll send out the Juan Manuel can send out the exact the timing. Es el 16 de mayo, un domingo. Vamos a hablar sobre COVID-19, sobre la vida, sobre Linnea. Eso es, claro, con el espíritu de Linnea. Compartido, está organizado completamente por Juan Manuel. Yo nada más estaré allí presente. También compañero de Italia, de psicología por Popoli, que es parte de Doctores por Salud Global, también europea. Thank you. Gracias.
To answer Martha and others, we will send out all of this information and the recording of this so that people have it. And anything else?
Well, it's just to say that, you know, there was some times it was complicated about how much Linnea could really receive, you know, realistically. So we didn't always put out all of the emails and all of the information, but now everyone has one another's emails. So it doesn't just have to come from Linda or me. We could email one another. You could email one another if anything comes to mind, a thought, a photo, or an event like the ones we're talking about. So yes, we will take care to let you know about these events and to send out the chat and these other things. But you don't have to wait for us. You can just continue to do that for one another as we keep Linnea's spirit with us and alive as we go forward. Do you want to do translation?
Brevemente, y estamos, todos conectamos de correo electrónico y podemos compartir todo y ustedes todos tienen información sobre uno a otro y no necesita esperar para nosotros. Si quiere compartir algo, puede hablar y no sé si hay algo más, pero estamos en contacto. Gracias a todos. And thank you, Gilbert, too, for stepping up last moment to translate. Really appreciate that. Yeah, so we know we had some audio issues in the beginning, so we'll just end with a song that I think you got to see but didn't get to hear in the beginning. So we'll end with this. Thank you again, everybody. Gracias para todo a compartir con nosotros otra vez. Linnea Presente.
Presente.
Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio dos luceros que cuando las abro perfecto distingo lo negro del blanco y en el alto cielo su fondo estrellado y en las multitudes el hombre que yo amo. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado el sonido, el abecedario, con las palabras padre, amigo, hermano, y luz alumbrando la ruta del alma del que estoy amando. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la marcha de mis pies cansados, con ellos andar ciudades y charcos, valles y desiertos, montañas y llanos, y la casa tuya, tu calle y tu patio. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me dio el corazón que agita su marco cuando miro el fruto del cerebro humano, cuando miro el bueno tan lejos del mal, cuando miro el fondo de
This one's 45. Start video, mute.
Press mute so the sound. It's on your computer that the sound isn't on. Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto, me ha dado la risa y me ha dado el llanto. Así yo distingo dicha de quebranto, los dos materiales que forman mi canto y el canto de ustedes, que es el mismo canto, y el canto de todos, que es mi propio canto. Gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida, gracias a la vida.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Gracias. Chao.